It's hard to believe the triple Qs are 15 years old today. March 25th, 1999 was the launch of one of the most heavily traded products. John, give us a little bit of background, because there's always new investors entering the market, and this is such a significant product to everyone from retail investors to portfolio managers.
Sure, and so the whole idea behind the Qs was to give investors a chance to invest in NASDAQ directly, because up until then there was no way to do that. People follow the market every day and they say, how's the market doing? They say S&P is down, NASDAQ's up, Dow's flat, and you could buy the S&P through the spider, you could have bought the Dow, but you couldn't have bought NASDAQ. So we were trying to figure out a way to touch retail and institutional traders and investors. And they weren't called ETFs back then, you know, they were called index shares and a variety of other names, but we figured that was the best way to reach investors. We had no idea it was going to take off and be as popular as it became and become the cornerstone for a whole business, but that was the genesis behind the idea.
So in 2007, it changed over to Invesco actively managing the Qs.
Yes.
Does that make a difference in terms of?
No, it's run the exact same way. It's a
right.
unit investment trust. So NASDAQ launched a fund company to do this. So we did the Qs, and we did 4 ADR ETFs called the Builders, and we did EQQQ, which is a UCITS compliant ETF in Europe. And I had 3 full-time salespeople. I was starting to grow it, and I realized a company that owns a bunch of stock exchanges, also owning an asset management firm, probably just wasn't our core competency. So we figured out, looked around, and talked to every major ETF sponsor out there, and worked a deal with PowerShares because they got it, and we thought they were a very innovative, forward-looking firm. We said it would be great, and they were being bought by PowerShares, Invesco at the time. So it was a perfect combination. We put the Qs, our baby, in their hands, so they could use their distribution channels to grow it to even bigger to where it is today. What
I find really interesting about the Qs and why it's such a fantastic retail product is everybody wants to own a share of Apple, but obviously it's very capital intensive, and since the Qs are weighted towards technology, it allows everyone to manage that basket. But what I think is really interesting, and you know, we hear it all the time, that it feels like we're trading like it's 1999, but how many sectors exist that didn't even exist in 99? If Facebook is one of the top 10 holdings, right. Social media is a whole new sector.
Absolutely. So you hit several points in there. So first off, the original advertising campaign for the Qs was all those NASDAQ stocks you wish you bought in one basket. You don't have to pick a stock. So you don't pick a stock, you pick a basket of stocks, which is the great diversification, the whole idea of indexing. The other great idea was, talked about Apple as one in particular, is that you don't have to, again, you don't have to pick a stock, you get the diversification across a whole basket of securities. The other idea that you talked about is the difference. So back in 1999, when we launched the Qs, it was more technology than it is today. So today there is broader groups. I mean, consumer goods, you know, you look at, when you say technology stocks, you look at Bed Bath & Beyond and Starbucks and Marriott and those they're not technology stocks. They're large cap growth. So I would say the 2 big changes between 1999 and today are it's a more diverse index. It has more categories like social media, broader consumer and things like that, and a lot more of the stocks pay dividends. You never would have looked at QQQ in 1999 as a dividend paying investment, and it is a dividend paying security today. So
well, it'll be interesting to see where we are 15 years from now.
Absolutely. We'll be right here and do it right here.
Excellent. So, Thank you very much, John. From the NASDAQ market site, I'm Jill Malandrino for The Street.